Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jocelyn, and today I am going to be taking some time with my inner self to reconnect. Specifically, I'm going to be working with my inner child to teach her how to do makeup. I'm really excited to work on this, talk a little bit about what the heck an inner child is. Let's get started. What I have on currently, which is literally just eyeliner, two different types of eyeliner I might add, is what I did for most of high school and maybe a smidge bit at the end of middle school. This was my go-to makeup. There's not even mascara. It's just this. First things first, I gotta take this off. I use cotton pads with some micellar water. So then I just go ahead and take that puppy off. Middle school, high school Jocelyn, when she was trying to discover how to do makeup, yes, YouTube was a thing, but there was like a slight hesitancy in my wanting to like deep dive into makeup. Just get a little bit more emphasis on my eye with some pencil eyeliner and maybe like a bright colored pencil eyeliner. Because that's what I would do. And sometimes it would just be color with color. I used silver and black a lot. I've used like blue and green next to each other. And my mentality was you put the black line or you put your base line on and then you basically just clean it up with the second one. So it doesn't even have to look good. My younger self is how I got to where I am today. But ooh, she had some stuff to learn. By the way, I do psychological topics on this channel, but I'm not a professional. Just gonna get that out of the way. And you should talk to a professional if you're more interested in this. Most of this is online research. What I found most interesting about this is that like our inner child, who we are inside, our little kid self still exists. And that's what I mean by like inner child, right? And they want love and attention and support, and sometimes they still throw tantrums, and then it affects your adult life, and that's not fun. So while we're talking about the basics of this particular psychological thing, let's get on some base. So this is my Mary Kay Foundation Primer, and I'm just gonna plop it on my face. Some things that should be noted before we start talking about this topic. Your inner child has nothing to do with dissociated identity disorder. People in the psychology realm have agreed that everyone has an inner child, and that inner child does have a tendency, if they feel injured, if they have extensive trauma, if they have been hurt and it has not been healed, that sometimes it comes out in negative ways in our adult life. And that doing inner child work can be beneficial to pretty much anyone. That's exciting. We all have stuff inside of us that is unresolved from our childhood. Not a psychologist, me, this one, not a psychologist, not a therapist, not another word for professional in the field with doctorates and stuff. Let's get my foundation on, and I'm gonna try my best to also teach my younger self how to do makeup. So the reason I put primer on is because I want a nice, good base. It smooths out some of the pores, makes a really good base to have your foundation stick to it, so hopefully you don't get it randomly lifting off in spaces, on places, on your faces. Today, man, I'm gonna take my IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better Foundation in 11 Neutral, or Fair Neutral 11. I'm using a wettened makeup sponge to help make sure I get an even coating of product. It doesn't leave smeary streaks like a brush would, although a brush is also totally okay to use if you prefer that. When I looked at Psychology Today, they specifically had an article all about the inner child and how to heal it and what it is and, you know, that kind of stuff. Because it's a fun word, they said it is a phenomenological reality. So it's not like your inner child lives inside of you, like if you cracked open your chest, a little kid would spring out or something like that. But it is, I think it's almost like a version of you from when you were younger exists in your mind always. That's me guessing, paraphrasing, and trying to sum up details. It's not like anybody really summed it up into a one-sentence thing. And I have no idea what phenomenological means, so I'll probably pop that here for you. I can find that. When I was younger too, the other thing that I would do is I would use just a powder foundation, and then occasionally I would do like spots with a concealer. which worked. But I think I was also using a powder foundation because I had a lot of oil on my face and I thought that the powder would just like suck it up. Sometimes that worked, knowing later that skincare is a very important element to how your face reacts to makeup products as well is important and helpful. Because my skin is significantly less oily here. It still has oil, but it is much better and I'm less worried about that now. Some of that could also be growing up and hormones and stuff like that too. I don't know, I'm not a dermatologist. I am going to use a little bit of my Benefit Boing Cakeless Concealer because I have a little bit dot over there. Like I do not have nearly as much as I did when I was younger. If I can find a picture of my younger self, I'll try and pop it up here for you so you can see what you were working with versus what you're working with today. And I'm gonna go back in with that beauty blender and it's dabbing, not swiping. And I am going to be using a setting powder. Younger me would have been like, setting powder? What the heck? Why do you need a setting powder? While you may really enjoy the finish that your foundation gives you naturally, if you're using a liquid foundation and you don't set it with a powder, with a spray or something, it doesn't really dry. And I think that's to prevent the caking. A lot of the liquid foundations are oil-based so that they don't have the air dry that they previously did. And that was the Paul & Joe Loose Setting Powder Inner Child, an unconscious version of ourselves at a younger age. This could be like, maybe you have 6-year-old you in there, kind of chilling and giving some of those impulsive childlike decision-making skills a go every now and then. Usually that inner child is more active and more manipulative if they are feeling a particular way. So I don't know if you've ever had something happen where you're in a situation, you get in an argument with somebody, and then they say something to you and it just like flashes you right back to when you were a kid, and before you can even really consciously make the decision on how you want to react to what's happening, something's already flown out of your mouth. That's like your inner child saying, this situation in the past hurt me. This is how I'm reacting to it now from that place of hurt. So healing your inner child is supposed to help mitigate some of that pain and some of that reactionary stuff. I am using the NARS Laguna bronzer, which is just like, it's like a little brownish thing. I use a warmer tone. Some people might use a cooler tone. I just do a powder contour because I like the way it looks. It looks a little bit more subtle. It just feels nicer. Like I don't feel like I'm layering so many liquidy things onto my face. But that's how I feel about it, right? No big deal, whatever your preference is. Getting out my Jouer blush palette, and this is the Rose Gold Duo. I'm going to be using shade Marigold. For a while there, the big popular thing was like, ooh, pink cheeks. Like so pink that it was basically just eyeshadow, and I'm pretty sure I have used eyeshadow before as blush when I did like musical theater. But that's also musical theater, and just so you know, if you know how to do musical theater makeup, you do not know how to do streetwear makeup. Musical theater makeup is so specific and like purposefully really extra. And younger me definitely didn't really know that. Younger me be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna cake on this stuff. I'm gonna make my cheeks like super rosy. I've now learned like blush for me personally looks better if I kind of go underneath. I know that the blush trend right now is like over top. Pick and choose based on your face shape, based on your personality. Don't necessarily just go with the trend, younger self. Find what works for you, not what works for everyone else. So when we talk about adulthood in this situation, we are talking about the ability to acknowledge, accept, take responsibility to love and parent one's own inner child. So that means that you have responsibility to take care, love, and accept yourself, which is, talk about a hard to swallow pill. I think that a lot of adults have problems with that today, and actually using that as a marker for you being an adult makes sense why so many millennials have that issue of just, they don't feel like they're an adult. Like you need somebody to help you. And sometimes you do. Help is totally appropriate, and you need help in life. That's okay. But when it comes to those feelings, you can give some of those feelings to yourself and say, I accept myself, and say, I love myself, and say that you are worth it, because you are, right? Be all of the things that you wish your parent was to yourself. You can give that to yourself. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, so grain of salt, take it. Ugh, sensitive skin. You scratch it once and it just goes red. So now I have my base on, and now I do something that I literally never thought of when I was a kid, ever. That's gonna be eyebrows. Today, I'm going to do really, really simple things that are just gonna make it look a little bit better. Besides getting your brows shaped, or even just going through and taking out a couple hairs, because I still have pretty thick brows, what you can do is use a little bit of eyebrow mascara. Do not use black unless you have black hair. Yeah? Use a shade that is appropriate to your hair color. It is going to make some of the hairs that might be lighter a little darker. It is going to give you control over your eyebrows so that you don't have hairs that are just going up in all directions. Of course, they stay relatively smooth when I try and make an example. It's really easy. You just go the way you want your brows to go. And then I just make sure that I control the tail. If I really wanted a simple thing where I just wanted my eyebrows to be a little bit better, this does that. I get a little bit more focus here, a little bit more control, and I still get that color carrying through. They're not super bold, and it's super easy. It took not even a minute. This was the Anastasia Beverly Hills Eyebrow Mascara in Ebony. When we talk about our inner child, we're also talking about the good things, right? We think of the ability to wonder, to have awe, joy, sensitivity, and playfulness. If you haven't felt one of these emotions in a while, you might be suppressing your inner child a little bit. We can be in those fleeting moments of awe, of inspiration, of wonder, of innocence and sensitivity and playfulness. We can live in those tiny moments because we've actually felt that emotion. Our inner child feels heard. And it's fun. Those are fun emotions to feel. It's okay to feel those. And if you're worried about how other people are going to take it, find a way where you can just enjoy it in your own way. Maybe it's, okay, when I feel this sense of wonder or playfulness, I can twirl my hair a little bit, or I can get out a fidget spinner and spin it. You can have little things that only you know are ways where you're acknowledging that emotion and nobody else has to know. So that way you don't feel like you're putting yourself at risk or being too vulnerable to people who you know won't respect that vulnerability. To respect my inner child self, we're gonna go through some eyeliners. Child me was very familiar with the pencil liners, right? She thought brown, which is what this shade is, was a garbage eyeliner color. I understand. It's not fun. It's not bright and crazy. It does have its place, and so you gotta respect it. Black, drama, all the fun things. Pencil liner is great for getting all those little details in the eyelashes. It blends in really well. You can smudge it really well, waterlines pretty well. If you accidentally stab yourself with it, it hurts, but that is pretty much all eyeliner, so you have to be careful how you use it. And not always is pencil appropriate, especially if you want really sharp lines. Colored eyeliners. I love me some colored eyeliners. I just do. These are all pencils too. Pencil eyeliners, the ones that you can actually sharpen. They can brighten up looks. You can do them in water lines, make them really fun. You can draw little shapes all over the place. It's a good time. They are not as detail oriented, so if you want to do detail looks, you can break into some liquid liners, right? I've got my white one here. I've got some pink, green, and purple here, and those are all really good for details, sharp lines, a double line, which is what we're gonna do because I know that's your favorite look, younger self. And then also, I haven't used this guy in a minute, but the felt tip liner is kind of awesome. It didn't used to be as awesome. The technology has made it so that the color does not bleed all over the place. You can get really fine precision details. This stuff has the staying power for days. These felt tip ones, they're not going anywhere. You might as well have tattooed that line on your face until you take remover to it. So we are going to start with the Milani Tank eyeliner in black, and I'm gonna give it a little bit of a wing. Younger self, you probably would have tried to close your eye and do the pulling thing, which technically works, but also for some reason seems really hard for me to look with the other eye. Because you have hooded eyes, self, your best bet is to kind of gently keep your eye half open. So that way you know exactly where it's going and you can really give it a cute little flick. Also, if you are using any sort of liquid liner and you have hooded eyes, be careful not to look up too soon after putting it on, because if it's not dry, it's gonna get everywhere. My current nemesis, getting the eyeliner even. This is eyeliner 1. We are doing a double eyeliner today to honor where I was with makeup and also teach my younger self maybe how to do it a little bit better. I'm gonna use the NYX Vivid Brights, and this is Vivid Envy. Double line, here we go. I'm gonna be really careful. Smaller lines are better first. I have to be careful. I don't know if you can see, I kind of accidentally went into the black a little bit. Wipe off excess. And I'm gonna go in. Yeah, I think I like that. Yeah, I like that. If you are new to makeup, be patient, leave yourself a lot of time, and be gentle with your skin. If you're finding that something is not working and you're just taking it off and putting it back on and taking it off and putting it back on, your skin is gonna get really irritated. This is where it's a little bit more difficult. You're gonna see that my ability to do both sides well is not as present. Let it chill for a little bit, let it dry, and then you can go back in and you can touch up that line again a little bit. Your inner child is just like a regular child. It doesn't necessarily know how to take care of itself. It doesn't know how to have mature relationships or an independent life. You, as the adult version of yourself, have some of those skills. Hopefully, you have all of those skills. So you have to take care of that child version as if you were a parent. And there's actually really cool things. It's called reparenting that you can do with a therapist to help guide you through it, to make sure that you're not doing harm to yourself, that can help you learn how to be that parent to yourself if you had a particularly difficult relationship with your parents, or if you didn't really have parents that were around. I think this is dry. I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna do a little touch up. There we go. And you're probably like, okay, but what about the bottom liner? Younger self, do not use the liquid pen on your bottom lashes. It looks weird. It's a very harsh line. It doesn't look good. I'm going to be using the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil in Deep End. And I'm gonna be using this in my waterline. I always take my pinky and pull down my lid just a little bit. It also helps to control the blinking, because if I just go in here, I can't stop looking at the tip of it, and I'm gonna wanna blink because there's something close to my eye. So if I pull it a little away from my eye, it feels less dangerous. The blinking does not happen as much. Now this is still a rather interesting look. Zero eyeshadow involved in this look right now. And I have a weird spot. Was that like a hair? I don't know what that was, but I took it off. So you can also, if you want a little extra pop of fun, I'm gonna use the Aurora Lights by BH Cosmetics palette. I want control. I'm gonna use a smaller brush. I think I'm gonna go with Australis, this like greenish blue at the bottom here. And I'm gonna use this shimmer right underneath the waterline. We can kind of make it look like an eyeliner. Well, here you go. Gives it a little bit more fun and dimension, makes the waterline look a little less weird. And get powder all up in my eyes. And then I'm also gonna take that same shade and I'm going to pop a little bit right on that inner corner. Here's my more like compact, short, but still kind of fluffy brush. And I'm just gonna take that and kind of blend it over the little. Theory could have done this before the eyeliner, but I didn't decide what I wanted to do until I'd already done the eyeliner. Simple eyeliner. You don't have to have too much skill with eyeshadow. If you don't want to use the eyeshadow, you don't even have to use the eyeshadow. So let's talk about ways that you can help fix your inner child. And by fix, I mean help heal, love, encourage your inner child so that you don't end up self-sabotaging or feeling lost or as lonely or insecure or afraid or inferior or small, because that is what happens when your inner child is struggling. I know that's what's happened when my inner child has been struggling. You can recognize yours. Say, yes, I have this inner child. She feels lost. Whatever it is you're feeling in that moment. Listen to your inner child. Okay, I feel lost. Why do I feel lost in this moment? Does it bring me back to feeling like I didn't fit in? Why do I still feel this way? Is it because it brings back feelings of being put into situations that you didn't feel you were ready for and not being given the support to feel like you could be ready for it? Whatever it is, listen to it. Hear it out. Let it live in your body for a minute. And then finding ways that we can fulfill that child. If your inner child's like, I want a candy bar, and you're like, but I'm allergic to chocolate, and your inner child's like, but candy. No, we don't do that. We might say, okay, inner child wants something sweet right now. What is something that will not give me an allergic reaction? We still have the responsibility as like the adult in the relationship to find a choice that fulfills the need but does not harm us in the process, right? Like, you know your limitations, so you know what is the line between what is good for you and what is not. When you fulfill that need, though, be aware that it doesn't always come from another person. So if you're feeling lost or alone, you as the parent in the relationship, adult you, can take that child and say, hey, we're in this together. You can do it. You gotta accept that the past has happened and accept that you cannot change the event that did occur. You can, however, change your perspective on the event, come back at it with new information. I'm going to be using the Clinique High Impact Mascara. But we're not even going to use falsies today because this is your simple look, right? Simple. Don't go like this, by the way. It's going to make weird lashes. Don't do it. Do it to the side if you just want the one lash coated. But don't do it like this because you're going in your eye. That's not a good idea. You look gorgeous. Little kid me would end here. No lips, no nothing. And that's okay too. Pencils are really nice too. That is something I avoided doing for the longest. Lip pencils are a little easier to control than a lipstick. I'm going to be taking my NYX Suede Matte Lip Liner in shade Copenhagen. It's not as saturated of a color as using like a lipstick or a liquid lip or something like that. It's like a coloring book. You just color in the lines or out of the lines depending on how you color your lips. If you don't think you have a Cupid's bow, you can draw one on if that's the style you want. You have the power. What I usually say is where your color, where the pigmentation of your lips ends is not necessarily where your lip ends always. So you go in and look where the actual physical lip is. There's kind of like lines that go up. You can kind of see them now. They have a natural highlight right there and there. You have a little extra room where you can make those mountain peaks if you want them. If you're like me, you got some dead skin on your lips, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is the round from earlier. I just took a little bit of stuff off of it. If you want a really sheer look, you can use lip balm over top of it. This is the Lip Medex by Blistix. Mom had it in her purse throughout your whole childhood. No, it is not an old lady thing. This stuff is great. Not sponsored by any of these products, by the way. Take a little bit, you can put it on for just a little shine. If you also have any like weird pockets where the color just decided to be overpowered, it more or less makes it like a tinted lip balm. Minty. I'm gonna leave you guys on a quote. It sounds corny, but I've promised my inner child that never again will I abandon myself for anything or anyone else again. And that is by Winona Judd. It's a pretty good one. Make that promise to your inner child today. You are not going to abandon yourself. You are a strong, capable human being. Sometimes we need a little bit of help doing that too. That's okay. If you feel like you might need a little help connecting with your inner child, healing your inner child, or just generally talking things through, get a therapist. Find a professional who you can talk to. Someone who can help you work through things. It's really important to have those people in your life, especially if you need a little help identifying that for yourself. Thank you so much for joining me here today, my not a professional naps. All right, I hope you guys come back next week, next Thursday in particular. Don't forget to like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, ding that notification bell, and comment down below what you wish you knew when you were a kid. I think this was kind of a fun experience, and it also gave me a lot of pride in how far I've come from when I was in middle school and high school with makeup in particular to where I am today. And in recognizing that and in teaching myself that today, it's almost like I've been able to recognize that accomplishment in myself. If you decide to give that a shot, it's a lot of fun. All right, have a nice day, naps. Bye.